everyone, and welcome to In the Back Pocket ahead of round 4 in the AFL, an Easter edition. Two-time All-Australian Nathan Brown is alongside me. Champion Data's Daniel Hoyne, and the man who's got over 21,000 followers on the Sportsbet feed, Joshy Jenkins. Hello, team. How are you, JJ?
I didn't pay for any of those, unlike Buddy Franklin back in the day on Instagram.
Really?
Mine are all no bots. No bots.
Well, just Jacinta Allen as well.
Yes. Well, yes. No, I'm going to move right along from
What about
anything
a drive
around.
by to one of the greatest players in the history of the game, too?
That's what they say. That's what they say.
How did we go last week, team, on our
back.
main duties, finding some winners?
We're back.
We are back, all right.
We are back. Finn Callahan, he had that in, halfway through the first quarter. He was on fire. Weren't really going anywhere with the ball, but I didn't care. He still had his 27.
And I was nervous. Caleb Serong had 9 at half time.
Yeah.
I'd consider turning the TV off. I think he had 14 in the last quarter, so it was a tough watch, but ultimately we got there. And Clayton Oliver for you, Matty, was easy.
Home at three-quarter time as well. So let's hope it's a similar story this weekend, team. Let's rip straight into it. JJ,
Yes,
what's the best?
I'm backing Charlie Curnow. Browny, when you played well against the team, you always knew it, didn't you? You always thought to yourself,
look forward to it.
Oh, yes. And Charlie needs this matchup. He's kicked 27 goals from his past 5 games against West Coast. I mean, he's with a new team, but he's due, and they need him to fire, and I think he will.
Who did you look forward to playing on?
But I like the doggies, actually. Yeah. Anytime we could get
Any
to Marvel.
individual in
Yeah.
particular?
No, we won't go down that path.
Okay.
Feel free to
What about you,
nail
Brownie?
someone if you'd
I was
like.
happy to play on Jimmy Clement for a living at
Shout out
one
to
point.
Jimmy.
He was a
Yeah,
very
Jimmy.
good player, though. This week I've switched and swatched and I've changed. I had Riley Bice at one point. I've been fiddling around Zach Merritt, but Josh Rochelle, if you're a coach and you watched that game last week, there is no way he can't play in the midfield. We do this before the teams are out, whether Dawson plays or not. I can't watch that game and go, he doesn't play in the midfield 80% of the time this week. He was their best runner. He was their best user. He got back in defence. And I'm taking that while it's still low, and Josh Rochelle for me.
Yeah, I like it. I reckon in 2 or 3 weeks, that line might be 24, 25 and a half. So I think you're spot on there. Hopefully Matthew Nix agrees. Matty, what have you got?
Well, I think we're all a little bit worried about Carlton. Even Carlton are worried about Carlton. And
A little bit worried?
well, when the chips are down and the momentum just swings against them, they just stop. They freeze up. And if North Melbourne get that little sniff of a first Good Friday victory, I think they can come out breathing fire in the second half. So the overs in the third quarter for their total points is my best bet.
I backed that last week for Melbourne. So
Yeah.
their third quarter was only 21 and a half, and they did that comfortably. I'm surprised it's only 20 and a half this week. So there's a little bit of value there.
You got to consider playing dead if you're Carlton and not go into half time with a lead, because Hoyney, they become paralysed. They just lose all ability to play the game from half time onwards. It's incredible.
Yeah, they do. And I also think there's a little bit of a coaching element to it, that when the opposition do throw, a few different things their way, that they struggle to actually handle that in game. It's one thing being able to handle it during the week and prepare in a manner, for that. But when there's something that's thrown up live on the spot, like Melbourne did last week with their clearance game, they struggle to handle it.
They've been starting well, though. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen, Hoyney, but there is a bet, a quarter to quarter, that you can take. So, Carlton.
You can't do it.
North Melbourne. Gee, Vossi would be nervous if that happened at $23. But if you don't like that, you can go Carlton. North at 19, and they've come in. So punters are backing them at the moment, because that was 27 and 23 respectively at the start of the week. It is now 23 and 19.
I reckon there's Carlton fans who'll even be taking that bet, listening to them through the week.
Dollars a dollar.
Yeah. Tristan Sherry won't be playing, though. Hoyney's out suspended. How much of an impact does that have on the Cangers?
Huge. You can't. You just, for this particular game, you cannot undersell the significance of this individual being out. He is one of the best clearance players in the competition. Forget just ruckman. This is all players in the competition the last 2 years. 4th for clearances, 3rd for contested possessions. And why it's so important for this game is that these two teams rely on the clearance battle. And if they can't win the clearance battle, they are gone. The last 2 years, when North Melbourne has lost the clearance battle, they are 0 and 8. When Carlton has lost the clearance battle, they are 1 and 10. So combined, they've won one game between them in 2 years when they've lost it.
That
so
is
someone's going to
very, very good stat.
So someone's going to lose it, and North are losing their best clearance player. So
would you trust Carlton at $1.68 though?
You can't trust them. You can't trust them. But I mean, when you look at Carlton at the moment, they are basically, I know Harry Dean's out this week, they are basically almost able to pick their best possible team. So I think there is no excuse this week for Carlton not to get the job done. I know people are a little bit surprised by the head-to-head market. I'm not. Carlton should be getting this done off the back of Tristan Cherry being out.
Did the Kangaroos have a look at the tag? It worked well for them last week with Finn O'Sullivan. Melbourne did it a little bit differently with Cripps and Walsh. They didn't go the direct tag. They sort of mixed it up through the match. Do you think they might take a leaf out of their book on how to handle this?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's one to throw around. When you've just sort of discovered a Finn O'Sullivan who can do that, now eventually he'll be better than that and he'll just be a 25, 26 possession player himself. But I would go to one of Cripps or Walsh because Carlton don't have many... don't have many weapons, so why not take one away? Is he suited? Because he's a pretty big body, O'Sullivan. Could he go and take Cripps out of the game? I would very much consider that because it worked last week. Why can't and why shouldn't it work again?
They didn't lose anything last week. He had 24 himself, O'Sullivan.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yep.
you're not putting someone who's only going to get 4 or 5 and then muck up your rotation. So he still had 24. So I'd be going to Walsh.
Yeah,
I think
I
he's
agree.
the only player that's got any sort of forward movement,
Yep.
any sort of forward dash that can hurt you. He's a goal scorer. Paddy Cripps a bit out of form. So that's where I'm heading.
Yep.
Now, goal scorers in this game. Mitch McGovern, he looked sharp, and he's looked sharp a couple of games in a row now. He kicked 3 last week. The last time we played against North Melbourne, he kicked 4 goals. Now, Harry Mackay, out of form at the moment. I'd imagine that Harry could kick the 3, could kick the 4, but I just like Mitch McGovern. He's playing that high roll and he can kick the ball 60 metres. So anywhere within 60, you can back him in.
He'll be having a shot, former teammate of mine, Mitchie. Paul Curtis for me. Look, his season's been a little bit funny thus far, but he's got a lot of runs on the board, 11 goals in his last 4 against Carlton. There's no matchup for him. He's a powerhouse. He's dynamic. He's probably been a little bit too unselfish early in the season, so I like Paul Curtis to kick a couple that Price has trimmed up nicely as well.
All right, double header for a Good Friday football. And the second game's an absolute
Cracker.
beauty between Adelaide and Fremantle. 2 teams that many would expect to play finals football. It's a good punting game.
Really
Browny.
good punting game. So I gave it an A. So you've got Fremantle midfielders who get a stack of the football. You've got Adelaide defenders in Josh Worrell and who get a fair bit. Like he 26 again last week.
Yeah.
Just gets it, and you're still getting a good value for Josh Worrell, and Malira is the other one who gets
Yes,
it down there. But the one I like is the algorithms. So I don't think that the algorithms of our betting company has caught up to Josh Rochelle and Shea Bolton getting disposals. If they both get 24, 25, 26 this week, I think they come right in. They retract next week. So at the moment, you're getting good value for these two. If they do it again, I'm telling you, the value is gone. So that's why I like it. The algorithms have not caught up to these two yet.
Yeah, I like the way this guy goes about it. He runs at the game, and that goal, he was involved in a stoppage a lot earlier. And you can see in some of these highlights, he wants to go forward. Is exactly what Adelaide needs. Now, we just need the actual disposal, so that's a different conversation. But it's exactly what Adelaide need around the ball, regardless of whether Dawson plays in the game.
Yeah, he's got those modern-day midfielder traits, doesn't he? Butters, Pickett, Dacos, that sort of like. What about Isaac Rankin? He's been a little underwhelming since he's returned to the side. Can he bounce back?
Yeah, and I think he has to for them to beat Freo. I can't believe that Freo are underdogs in this game. I think the way that Freo are playing at the moment, they're red hot. Adelaide are a little bit clunky with a reasonable injury list.
You trust him on the road?
He needs, I do, absolutely. And he needs to get going. Well, I mean, that's his total numbers. That's not averages. That's his 2 games so far. And, we've seen Isaac being able to be so damaging as, playing 50% midfield, 50% forward. We haven't seen him play too much midfield time yet. So I just wonder whether or not they've tried to ease him into it off the back of a short pre-season. But the time is almost there for him to be unleashed into this midfield. Whether or not Jordan Dawson plays is still questionable. Freo's midfield at the moment is flying, and if they are to challenge Freo on Friday night, Isaac needs to get back to being the player
last week too. So O'Shea
Against
Mullen
the
goes
best
to
in the
him,
comp,
and it makes it really hard. And he pretty much played forward half of the ground, so it made it tough for him. I think he gets freed up a little bit this week. But my multi revolves around those 2 players of the algorithm. So Shea Bolton, disposal over. Josh Rochelle at that 22 mark. So that is my same game multi in this Friday night blockbuster.
All right, what about a head-to-head bet? So the Crows at $1.83 currently. Freo just on the worst side of even money. Have we got a leaning?
I'd take both underdogs. I like North Melbourne. I can't trust Carlton, and I agree. I like Fremantle as well.
All right.
Yeah, Freo for me.
Freo for me.
At home, the Crows. I'm not ready to drop off them just yet. And hopefully Isaac Rankin bounces back because he is crucial to their chances. We'll be back shortly on In the Back Pocket. Welcome back to In the Back Pocket. Matt Nevett is my name. Nathan Brown, Daniel Hoyne and Josh Jenkins are alongside of me. And JJ, you're going to get the crystal ball out. Have a look into the future.
Yes, I still think we need to see more footy when it comes to the premiership market and even some of the awards. But bottom four is something that's been interesting because I think we're starting to see some teams who are potentially going to have a poor season. So I'm trying to get in front of a couple of clubs who I don't think many of us had them in the top 10, but certainly not many of us would have had them in the bottom four. Port Adelaide have got two really bad losses to their name. I mean, the West Coast loss was abysmal when you consider they're up by 25 points. It was 25-0 early in that game. So they're a reasonable price to finish bottom four. And one team I've had a lot of admiration over the past handful of years for the Giants. I just wonder, they've got 13 players on their injury list this week. I just wonder whether the trapdoor's about to fall out of them. I don't think they've ever really recovered or replaced guys like Perryman and Peatling and important role players. Fonte's about the only one who's been able to stand up and fill that void. So I think they're a sneaky at $5.50.
They're an interesting watch because, as you said, JJ, with their injury list, I can't remember an injury list this big at this time of the year. And you just hope for them at the moment that they can hold on a little bit because their game is all built around those small forwards. And Bedford's coming back, Daniels is coming back, Darcy Jones will be back later on in the year, Sam Taylor's still going to be a few weeks away, Jack Buckley's going to be a few weeks away. If you think that they can hold on in the next 6 weeks and potentially go 2-4-3-3, they have comfortably the easiest draw in the competition post that period. So that if a few of those players can come back with the draw that they have, we've seen them in 2023 get a run on towards the back end of the year. It's just whether or not they can hold on until those players come back.
I really like the Port Adelaide bet. I could see their season spiralling in the second half of it if things don't improve short
3 or 4 months. I mean, you lose him already. So
they'll have the Butters story hanging over their heads pretty much the whole season. So I'm a little bit worried about Port Adelaide. I think $2.75 is a good price to jump on now. Speaking of, they take on Richmond this weekend. They are favourites away from home. I can't really trust either of these two sides.
I don't know how they are favourites at $1.53. So this game's at the MCG. Richmond they've been okay. They've played some really good sides. So they've played Gold Coast and they've also played Fremantle away. Two really good sides. And they've been with them at half-time. And as young sides do, they get belted after half-time because they can't compete. They should have beaten Carlton, apart from 2-7 with Tom Lynch. So Richmond, I think, have been thereabouts okay. This mob has been terrible. So outside Butters and Georgiades, if they can do something with Butters and Georgiades, back at the MCG, I like the Tigers. I like their pace. I don't think they can blow them away. I think they're 254, but 1-39 at $3. Ooh. They won't be able to blow them away. I just think they grind out a win here, the Richmond, and I'm pretty confident. Yeah,
I'm totally with you on Richmond. Competitive for 60 minutes against two of the premiership contenders this season. That's acceptable. I think that's what we expected. We didn't expect Port Adelaide to lose to West Coast on the weekend. So I think there's good value there. And the concern for Port Adelaide is that their best player, Zach Butters, at the moment, really can't do much more than what he's doing. He's been the highest rated player on the ground 3 weeks in a row, and they've lost 2 of those games. So we're all looking at it, that it has to be Butters. Well, it has been Butters, and they still haven't been able to get the job done. And now they lose, a few more players this week as well. So I think there's significant opportunity there for Richmond.
A lot of bets on him for the Brownlow as well, Zach Butters. But I know he's the number 1 rated player for 3 games in a row, but do they win enough games?
No, you got to win games.
He probably doesn't get 3 last week.
He's going to have to stack a lot of 2s.
Yeah. I think there's only 1 3 voter there, and maybe he only gets the 1 or 2 last week. I thought maybe Harley Reid got the 3.
Yep. Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Kane Farrell, a watch for you, JJ.
Yeah, he's got a good record, really good record against Richmond. So his numbers against Richmond are quite incredible. The best against anyone he's faced over the past handful. So 31, 27, 23 and 23's lines, 21.5. I mean, he's their best kick by far in the back half. He's sharing the kick in, so Todd Marshall not there, that helps. But even last week without Marshall again, he only took 4 kick-ins. Jones took a few. I think Sava Radaglia took 1. So I'd prefer him to be taking all of them because he is their best kick. But still, having said that, he had 25 disposals. They need to get the ball in his hand. So Butters is the only one creating, as we've mentioned. Farrell is the guy who can kick it short and create, get it back on the 1-2, or he can go long and try and break the defence open. So hopefully Farrell on the wide expanses of the MCG can have a big game.
Right, he's looking a little gloomy for Port Adelaide. There are some green shoots, though, at West Coast. They've been a bit of a surprise to start 2026. And they're big outsiders against the Swans this weekend. But one of the green shoots is this young man, Willem Dersma, who in his 3 games so far looks right at home. And he's been able to hit the scoreboard as well. So no surprise to see that he he's the one that's really trimmed up in the Rising Star betting. I was a little bit slow to press the button. He's probably into his right price now, but he's a player that you can get excited by.
You can understand why he was taken pick one. He has all the attributes of a modern day midfielder. He's able to win it, but then more importantly, as we keep talking about, it's how you use it on the outside, and his ability to be able to create, and he's such a long penetrating kick already, 3 games into his career.
Imagine when he puts on 8 kilos. He's going to be a beast.
Oh, he will be.
He's got a little bit of early Nathan Fyfe about him. With his Fyfe was very skinny, rangy, played out in the wing, a good athlete, good overhead. So because I actually looked, I might have even been you, Hoyney, was sort of thinking, what does he become in 10 years? You're thinking maybe Bont, but maybe a big, powerful Nathan Fyfe
Much
is what he
better
might
skills
be.
than Fyfe too.
Yeah.
7 scoring shots in the last 2 weeks. It's a market that I like to play in the anytime goal scorer for players that are just starting out in their career, because the traders don't have a good gauge on their sort of averages yet, and it's still such a small sample size. So if you think he can replicate that, 2 goals at 440 might be a little bit of value. The tag, James Jordan, does he go to Harley Reid here?
Is Jordan? What are they doing with Jordan?
No, I wouldn't be confident yet. I reckon, 12 months ago, 24 months ago, he was tagging every single week, and you knew that it was a lock. He didn't tag against Carlton until Walsh went bananas. He didn't tag against Hawthorn on the weekend. So I wouldn't have the absolute certainty that Coxie is going to use James Jordan as a tagger this week. So just be a little bit careful as opposed to 2 years ago.
You want to hear the coach, I reckon, pre-game. You want to hear him commit to it. Because, 22.5 for Harley Reid, it's not a massive number. He's not a 30-plus guy. But if you know Jordan's going to go to him, then I think you can step in. Otherwise, you might have to let that one go.
All right, Swans $1.20. Does that feel about right? No value in the price at the Eagles?
I think the only thing with Sydney is that now we have a good sample size of how they've gone with and without Errol Goulden. And I think other than Hoyney, he is their most important player. And you can see here for the last 18 months or so, 5 and 9 without him now. And that's that is becoming a real issue. Yeah. I still think Sydney will win, but I think West Coast will be, in this probably a long way off the back of this, off the back of that particular player.
And whether, again, sitting here before the team, so Isaac Hoyne, whether he plays or doesn't play, I think he's expected to play, but, with hamstrings, you never know. They might make a cautious or take a cautious route with him. Charlie Curnow, he's the one who I think needs to get going. He's going to get enough supply. I think Ruben Jinby probably plays on him, so he's going to have a size advantage. He's going to probably have a strength advantage. They paid big bucks. Now, this is a long-term investment, but this is a game, to avoid this becoming a game that goes deep into the fourth quarter, Curnow needs to start well. He actually started well against Hawthorn, but then just completely drifted out of the game.
Amazing first quarter, didn't he?
That's
and
right.
he hit the post to make it even better. But I like your betting, and I like the fact that there's open space for him to lead into.
Yeah.
I'd love him to lead more, because at the moment he wants to push and shove, and if he gets on his bike more, I think there's a really good bet.
Well, he's an athlete, isn't he? He's an athlete. I don't understand. I think it's probably a confidence thing and maybe not certainty around which guys like to get it and roll and which guys want to kick it long, which guys want to kick it short. That's all part of it. But at the moment, for a guy that's not a big hulking forward, he wants to wrestle, he needs to get on his bike. He's a great athlete.
So here's a theory on this game. West Coast, Sydney are $1.20, right? West Coast have been starting poorly in most games. If Sydney are up at quarter time, I think they're too mature to allow West Coast to get back in like these other sides has. They're $1.20. So Sydney to lead at every quarter, every change, $1.75 compared to the $1.20.
Yeah,
that's wrong. That's
a
wrong
good
playing.
call.
I love a good theory.
Yeah. If you like the Swans, that's the play, isn't it? Yeah, for sure. The Coleman. Let's have a look at the market, actually, JJ. So Charlie Curnow's got off to a slow start, and he slipped right down to $18. Can anyone topple Ben King, who does like to cash in against the lower-ranked sides?
I'd have Norton in for 5 or 6 this weekend.
Yeah, well,
I'm on him at $18.
You want to get around the doggies pair because I think one of those two is going to kick a handful, right? The other one is Jeremy Cameron. He's $21. He won it. He almost kicked 100 last year. His role against Adelaide was bizarre. He was off ball the whole night. I just wonder whether the arm, he's not confident yet to be back in a contest or a lot of contests. $21 is a huge price, but Ben King just kicks goals for fun, so can't knock it.
But if Jack Gunston plays 22 games, he's going to at least kick 65, 70. It's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, it'd be hard to go past Ben King though, just given how Gold Coast play and how powerful they are, and he doesn't move outside the forward 50. So
Browny, give us the Brownlow tracker. Where are we at?
Well, we are very much in the Nick Dacos camp at the moment. So Petrarca, obviously he's not playing there for a while. Marcus Bontempelli, huge chance against the Bombers. I've got Harley Reid in for a couple of threes. Look, he could have got the twos, the ones, but I just thought Harley Reid. Maxi Gawn, got him in for 2. Bolton is there. And Zach Butters, I've got him in for a 3 and a 2. But outside that, do they win enough games? So it's starting to take shape.
If Bolton's role remains, once we drop the top 3, top 5, top 10, now we're a little way down the road, but once those markets start to come out, you might need to keep an eye, because he's an eye catcher. Yeah. And if the umpires, I know you were probably about to say contested ball tacklers, but if the umpires are swayed by the stats and some of the things they get to see, maybe we can sway away from those inside mids.
Are you sitting here right now? I know it's very early on in the year. Going, is there anyone else other than Bontempelli and Dacos that can actually challenge for the Brownlow right now?
Probably not on a consistent basis. No, because I think those two.
We just talked about Zach Butters before.
Really consistent.
We've said this before, though, about those two.
But they're going to play in winning teams. The umpires get the stats, although I think the umpires got the stats previously anyway, so I don't know where they get that.
That's a story in itself.
Well,
they flash up on the scoreboard every 5 seconds.
There's no way they don't know the stats. Hoyne?
He's just breaking news.
Injury's the only thing that stops Nick Dacos this year, I think.
I've heard that before.
It's his year.
Twice, maybe 3 times.
It's his year. It's not Brownie's year with the Streakers segment. Let's have a look what happened last week.
So we're up to 183. So 183 goes into Port Adelaide just a plain head-to-head. Doesn't matter if they win by 1 or 101. They just need to win.
The power went out, Brownie.
We used to run a promo here many years ago. If you go 20 points up, you win. Now, if we still had that promo, I would have been home and hosed, but unfortunately we don't have it anymore. So they went up. I was pretty confident. I turned the radio back on about an hour later, and I thought, wow, Port Adelaide.
Geez, I tell you what, you've had a couple of nervy weeks, haven't you? Dylan Stevens the week before.
But I'm done now. It gets past the bat and gets passed on.
You did well.
Thank you.
I'm going to have a throw.
4 weeks.
I'm going to have a throw at the stumps here, guys. So I'm getting a little bit ambitious, and I'm going to pick your own line with the Bombers with a 99.5 head start. So as long as they don't get done by 100 plus, we are home and on to next week. A bit harsh, old AI.
I think that's going to be a sweat. I think ultimately you'll get the job done, but last two have both been 90 plus against the Dogs, so I like it, but I think they're going to make you sweat there, the Bombers.
I hope not. 99.5, surely I'm safe. That's the Streakers segment for next week. The other game we want to take a look at is Melbourne and the Gold Coast. I must admit, I thought the Dees were a big price here, considering that the Suns are still going to be without a couple of key players. Petrarca and Humphrey are very important to their side and the way they like to play. And the Dees have been slow off the mark, but loving their second halves, Hoyney.
Yeah, and I think there might come a little bit of a tipping point for Gold Coast if you add Matt Rowell to that if he doesn't get up in this game. So all of a sudden you might look at Rowell, Petrarca and Humphrey in that midfield group. And I think they've been reasonable, Gold Coast, without being absolutely exceptional at the moment. And the way that Melbourne play and how aggressive they are with their ball movement game, if Gold Coast are a little bit off, they will get challenged, with how Melbourne are playing. So there could be some value in this for the Dees.
Coming off the bye as well. Surely the Dees send Tolstrup to Noah Anderson.
You'd think so, because if you talk about the guys who aren't there, why not take out the guy who is there, the last remaining sort of A grader who is there, or A plus grader. Anderson's start to the season's been just a little off his absolute best, hasn't necessarily been blowing it up from a numbers perspective. I've got a different view. I mean, you can look at Melbourne and say they haven't beaten much. St Kilda are 1-3. Carlton are Carlton at the moment. So you can take a different view. And I think across the ground, Gold Coast, for a while it was their 4 midfielders and that's it. If they dominated, they had a chance. Now they've got players all over the ground. Ballard and the guys behind the footy and the forward line is pretty good as well. So I like Gold Coast here the last time they're at the G for the year as well.
So I've been waiting to get a patch of form from Bodie Hewlin because he's still good value at half-back. So because they've got a lot of half-backs, they've got Noble who gets it, Rioli, got Joel Jeffrey who gets a fair bit of it too. But this guy in his 3 games this year, so he's gone 19, 24, 29, just getting better and better every week. So let's have a look at his prices, 21, 23 and 25. he's been taking the kick-outs, so the most kick-outs at the footy club so far this season. So I'm backing Bodie Uland in.
All right, one for your multis as well that I'm keen on is Harry Sharp to get on the scoreboard. Now, he's been playing a lot on the wing over the last few years. He was in and out of the side last year under Simon Goodwin, spent a lot of time as the sub, actually. With Cully and Langdon occupying the wings at the moment, I think this guy's playing a role that really suits him because he's clever around the goals and he runs hard, he gets out the back. So 4 goals in his last 4 games, he gets a few looks. $1.91 to kick 1 goal. That's the best bet on a Sunday for me. Harry Sharp, that needs to go on your multis.
I'll tell you what else he is, a tackling machine.
Yep.
As well. So something to potentially look at there with Harry.
Yep.
We've got the new markets on that. You can back him for tackles.
Yes.
How many?
Yeah.
Well, he did comfortably 6 in the second half last week, and I think that's his role ahead of the footy. Is that high half forward who can pressure and get up and down the ground.
One more I'll throw in. Caleb Windsor, when he plays at the MCG, I'm happy to play with him. He likes the space. His numbers at the G this year have been good, 22.5 through 2 games. So at the G, Caleb Windsor's one of mine. Away from the G, I'll just let him go.
Big Max Gorn, the last 7 games in a row, he's had 21 or more disposals. So that's a starting point for me. And the 21 is a very good price for Max Gorn, who is fit and he gets the job done, particularly in the second half. So if he's down on his numbers in the first half, like Melbourne have been, he comes back in the second half.
He's had a phenomenal start to 2026 as Big Max. You think another All-Australian Blazer might be waiting for him. We'll be back on In the Back Pocket shortly. Welcome back to In the Back Pocket. Matt Nevett, Nathan Brown, Daniel Hoyne and Josh Jenkins are with you. Big challenge for the Bombers taking on the Western Bulldogs this weekend after what's been a rough start to their season, and our Sportsbet traders have put up a market on when they're going to get their first victory, and you can get better odds than this weekend down the track.
Where are we? Well, when are they going to get their first win? I mean, Melbourne's an opportunity.
They have got a good record against the Dees and Gather round. So
Yeah, of course. I was going to say, is that game at Marvel, but it's in Adelaide, so that doesn't help that much.
Round 11. Round 11.
Better wait all the way to round 11.
If they're getting a win before round 11, looking at that.
Well, I'll be shocked if they've got the same coach by round 11. If that's going to be... Well, if they don't win until round 11, I mean, come on, please. They'll be getting a new coach, I'd imagine. So, no, they're woeful at the moment. They've got guys whose effort is now being questioned, and that, as a player, Browny, that's the last thing you want accused. If I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. If I got beaten by a better player, that's fine. But now people, I think rightfully, are questioning their effort, and that's not good.
And I heard Zach Merritt have his effort question last week, which doesn't sit overly well with me because I think he's been the face of that club for a long, long time, and he had a poor game. He got no support. But what happens when you play a poor game and you're proud and you're a good player like Zach Merritt, come up against a side who don't tag? I think you bounce back. Have a look at that. The disposal line is 26.5. I would be shocked if Zach Merritt doesn't have a big game and doesn't go over the 26.5. He probably goes head-to-head with Ed Richards, so they'll probably both get a fair bit of the football. But Zach Merritt, bounce back, proud player, good player, finds a lot of it.
There's no reason why he doesn't reach that.
Yep.
The Dogs, you can take it to the bank, they won't tag him. So, absolutely.
No point.
No.
I'm happy to sit on the overs on that market as well. What about from a goal-scoring point of view here with the Western Bulldogs? Who's going to cash in?
Well, I mean, the big key forwards, Brownie, last time, these
6
two
and 7
teams...
between them.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Yeah.
6 and, I think it's still a thing, 6 and 7. So, Norton and Darcy. The good thing about Norton, he's become a little bit more reliable. I mean, he's got
Really
a bit
reliable.
of a hitch in his goal.
Yeah.
It's not a pure action by any stretch of the imagination, but he's probably the one in better form and a little bit better price.
Yeah.
Sam Darcy for me is the interesting one because all the reports that came out post that State of Origin game was, he was a little bit sore, and I think he's played a little bit that way, to start the season. So having a week off has hopefully freshened him up, and he's still been able to hit the scoreboard. But if it has freshened him up, then the competition look out because we know how good of a player this young guy
Don't
is.
see if one gets out of the loop, the other one misses out. But I can't see them doing both. I just think Aaron Norton's probably the one. I think they go, okay, how do we take care of Darcy? And then Aaron Norton's just licking his lips and just coming in from the side. And, his ground level work's been good. And what I've been impressed, and it's probably not even a betting thing, but how much pressure he's been putting on and tackling, which has been getting him into games this season, Aaron Norton.
Yeah, he's been in good form for probably a good 12 months now. Looking forward to Easter Monday. It's always a great clash, and it's often quite close. Geelong have definitely had the wood over Hawthorn in recent times. 12 of the last 15 they've actually won, and I think this is the best chance of an upset all weekend. I'm going to tip the Cats. I thought that they should be at least even in the betting, and the fact that you're getting 235, I'm more than happy to play here for a side who have notched up some good victories already this season.
Yeah, they're being a little bit overlooked, Geelong. We spoke about that in terms of the premiership market. Now, last week they were sort of 18 into 12, and then now they're back out to a big price again. I mean, how much do you factor in? So Hawthorn were pretty well embarrassed in that prelim final. That's some motivation for them, perhaps, but it's Easter Monday. I doubt the Cats need much more motivation than that. So I'm a bit torn on this one, Hoyney.
I'm going straight to the Hawks midfield on this. You know, you just spoke about the prelim final there, JJ. There's no hiding it that they were absolutely bashed up as a midfield group on preliminary final night. Last year, they got their hands on the footy more often than Geelong to start with, but they simply couldn't handle the Cats' big bodies and the pressure that they were able to apply. Then it turned into plus 17 clearance, which is an absolute mauling. And Geelong scored 72 points from clearance, most ever in a preliminary final on record. So Dangerfield was a large reason behind that, and we know that Dangerfield's not there. But in saying that, this Hawthorn midfield group that I think a lot of us in the industry have questioned whether or not they have the talent to be able to go with them. Let's see if they can bounce back from what was a mauling as a midfield group last year's preliminary final night.
All right, well, let's rip into Tag Watch. Where does the focus go on Easter Monday, JJ?
Well, Geelong have often double tagged. They might triple tag in this game. So in the prelim final, they went and took Weddle out of the game, which was interesting and would have been alarming to him as an individual out on the wing. Hang on, why am I getting tagged? I'm about 7th or 8th in line. O'Connor did that job perfectly, maybe 15th. Nick Watson is one you've got to take out, and Oisin Mullen is suited to him perfectly. Yep. Think about what he did to Isaac Rankin. That's going to be a carbon copy. And maybe less of a tag, more of a shoulder-to-shoulder. Atkins and Newcombe, I know the Cats value what Newcombe does a lot. So there could be 3 sort of run-with/lockdowns.
Oisin Mullen and Nick Watson is the game. Oh, I think it's as simple as that. Because if everything Hawthorn do, it is Nick Watson. And you can see here over the last couple of years, when he's a top 5 player on the ground, they haven't lost. When he isn't a top 5 player on the ground, they're basically a 50-50 footy. A 50-50 footy team. He's going to get the best tagger in the competition, and if he gets shut out like he did in the prelim final last year and like Mullen was able to do to Rankin last week, like you said, JJ, the question will be to Hawthorn, have they got enough talent to be able to combat no day and now their best player in Nick Watson getting shut out? So a twofold there, great opportunity for the young Nick Watson to be able to bounce back against the game's best tagger. But if he's taken out, what else have they got?
Praise to say that he's their best player.
Oh, he's their best player. Yeah.
I like it when you're strong.
Oh, I've got no doubt about that. Without Will Day, any time he's around the footy, things happen.
Yeah.
And it just, he's an absolute...
The worst thing they can do is just allow him to be inside forward 50 and be the crummer. I think the easiest way for a small forward like that to roll through the midfield and play at least 50-50 to make Geelong make a decision, is he going into the middle with me or is he getting me off the line? That allows him to get his confidence up with some touches around the stoppage.
And the beauty about Oisin Mullen is that he will go with him wherever he goes. Yeah. So it doesn't bother Mullen or Geelong if Watson goes into the midfield group there. So that is the matchup on Monday.
I love your big, strong calls. As you said, Browny, he's been on fire, our man Daniel Hoyne, over the last few weeks with those. Is Marbiol Chol the man who can hit the scoreboard this weekend?
Yeah, I like what he's been able to do. He's been consistent this year. I think he's been consistent as a Hawk, to be honest. He was moved along at a couple of... Damien Hardwick, clearly not a big fan of him, has moved him on twice. But, I mean, you've got to give him credit. You've got to give him credit. He's been really consistent for Hawthorn. At times, he's been the sole key forward, bringing the ball to ground and backing up in the ruck. Now he's got a bit of help. He's been a little inaccurate this year, but he's been creating chances for himself. Almost 2 goals per game against Geelong in recent history. So I think big Mabior on Easter Monday can kick a couple.
I'm going to compare a couple of players here who play a very similar role, and that's Dylan Moore and also Brian Myers. Now, Brian Myers getting a fair bit of the football. Take out opening round because he had a lot of things going on in his head, Dylan Moore. But since then, 24 and 22, Brian Myers has been super consistent. But when they play the same role and you expect them to get those low to mid-20s, $2.61 compared to $1.45. I'm not saying don't back Brian Myers. That's a perfect one to put in your same game multi. But you could back Dylan Moore for $2.61 and it's just the value is better.
I want to back you up on that as well with a little bit of vision, because when you go hunting for these bets and you see Myers, 25 plus, I mean, that's a big number. Dylan Moore, 22, 23 plus. These guys are going to less than 15% centre bounce. So you're thinking, well, they're not around the footy a lot, but have a look how high the forwards are, and we're going to circle Ginnivan and Moore. So Moore's always between the arcs. He's a half forward, he plays as a forward, but he's always between the arcs. The reason I've highlighted Ginnivan is that's what Brian Myers does. AFL clubs use those forwards who come right up to contest, and Ginnivan is, yes, he's a forward, he's effectively a midfielder. So don't be worried that Myers or Moore's not playing centre bounce minutes. Those guys are effectively fifth midfielders, and you can bet confidently they're going to get big numbers.
They're afforded space.
Yes, yes.
The one thing for me with this as well is if you think that Geelong are a chance to win this, like you said, Matty, with your kiss of death, there's still $18 to win the flag.
Yeah.
Like if they go 3-1 now against Hawthorn and then they've got West Coast the week after, they're sitting there 4-1 and we know historically Geelong just work their way into a season. I don't think you're going to see a price at $18 for too much longer post 6 o'clock Monday if you think that they're going to get this job done.
It's on the great man's feed.
It's
He
on
was
the
all
feed.
over it a couple of weeks ago.
Not many copies yet. Feel free to climb aboard. I'm waiting.
No, I think you're making a very good case. I've obviously made the case for Geelong as the kiss of death, but I can't see them getting blown out of the water here by any means. So any multi that you take, I think pick your own line, 20.5 head start, $1.55 is just a boost on top of whatever you want to do. So I'm going to do that for this multi, Brownie. Dylan Moore, 23 plus, and Marbiol Chol 2 plus. Ooh. Are we feeling good about it?
I'm feeling really good.
Yeah, I'm feeling good about that.
Old man Marbiol would not let me down.
Before the event, I'm always feeling good about it.
Marbiol Chol to bring us home on a Monday, an Easter Monday. Quick tip, on with the Cats.
Cats.
Yep.
Cats.
Hawks.
Okay, 3-1 for the upset. Join us next week as well for Gather Round here on In the Back Pocket. It's been great to have your company once again.
You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.